In 2020, I graduated with almost $50,000 in debt, split across 8 different loans, 4 subsidized and 4 unsubsidized loans. Really quickly, a subsidized loan is based on financial needs and you do not accrue interest on that loan throughout the time that you're in school and the first 6 months upon graduation. An unsubsidized loan is not based on financial need. You can choose to elect to take this loan on, and it does accrue interest as soon as it is dispersed to you. So if you have an unsubsidized loan in your first year of college, it will accrue interest throughout year 1, through year 2, year 3, year 4, up until you pay the loan off. So super important to understand that. And if you are a college kid, it's also very important to understand that, because that is something that they don't make very clear, obviously. So now I want to go through my debt pay down process and exactly what was going through my head graduating college with almost $50,000 of loans tagged to me. Well, like 95% of Americans in my shoes with federal loans during COVID times, we were hoping for a miracle under the Biden administration. Not to get too political, but during his campaign, one of the promises that he said was that he was going to offer loan relief, loan payoff. There were a lot of talks and a lot of proposals and a lot of blah, blah, blah. But during that time, all of the federal loans were placed in a forbearance. At least mine were. And a forbearance means that they were not accruing interest. And so for years, while my loans were in forbearance, I foolishly did not take advantage of that time to pay off my loans interest free. And around September-ish 2023, the loans were taken out of forbearance and were placed in repayment and started to accrue interest. Over 3 years went by and I did not take advantage of any of that time to pay off my federal loans. I was essentially starting from scratch. But my debt pay down plan was simple. I wanted to get into automatic payments, and I wanted to set the automatic payments to be as low as possible to avoid delinquency, and then do large lump payments whenever possible to the loans that had the highest interest, and in that order. I do want to preface this by saying my living expenses are relatively low. I do have a job that pays me well, and my job also provides me yearly bonuses, which made saving for large lump payments pretty seamless, especially because I created a system where money was automatically being taken out of my checkings account and being saved in a high yield savings account. I have a ton of videos on how to save money, how to budget your money in a playlist that I will have tagged up here. Please be sure to watch that after this video. So I wanted to break down all of the principal amounts that I was dispersed throughout my 4 years at college. So in year 1, I was dispersed $3,500 in subsidized loans and $6,000 in unsubsidized loans. In year 2, my subsidized loans were $4,500 and my unsubsidized loans were $6,000. In year 3, my subsidized loans were $5,500, my unsubsidized loans were $7,000, and in year 4, my subsidized loan was $5,500 and my unsubsidized loan was $7,000, totaling a principal loan disbursement of $45,000. Now, each of these loans also had varying interests. In my first year, the interest was relatively low at 3.76% for each of my loans. In year 2, it was 4.45%. In year 3, my subsidized loan was 5.05% and my unsubsidized loan was 4.8%. And in year 4, each of my loans were 4.53%, averaging out to be 4.42% across all of my loans. Now, under 4.5% is really not high. And I know there are a lot of people that combat the idea of paying off your loans because they believe that they can get a spread that is higher by investing in the market versus paying off their loans. And mathematically, they are not incorrect. If you can invest in the market and if you can get yearly returns of 7%, 6%, even 5%, you're technically earning more by investing than you are losing by earning interest on your loans. But to me, There is no better feeling than being debt free. And also, there are other things that you might be considering in your life, like buying a house, buying a car, and having outstanding debts tagged to you can hurt you in how much you are qualified for in getting a home and how much you are qualified for in getting a car. If you want a deeper dive in my thoughts of paying debt off versus investing that money, please comment below and I'll be sure to record a video like that. My debt paydown method is famously called the snowball method, where you can either pay your loans off smallest to largest or pay your loans off highest interest to lowest interest. And so looking back at the Excel, I have a column here as interest paid or interest owed because there are some loans that I actually did pay off in large lump payments, and so I no longer owe on those loans. I will get deeper into that later on, but I just wanted to show you that from when I were dispersed my loans during my first year of college up until this point, I have accrued $2,637 in interest, bringing my loan amount to almost $50,000. And so when I look at it that way, that's essentially over $2,500 that I threw out of the window, even though the 4.5% is low, even though I probably made more money in the stock market, it's still money that I essentially threw out of the window. And so my goal today is to say good riddance to my loans. But before getting to that point, I want to walk you through my process. As I mentioned, around September 2023, the loans were taken out of forbearance and were placed into repayment. Around that time, I also had a savings account which I used to pay off an unsubsidized loan that had the highest interest, which at the time was a $7,000 loan that had a 4.8% interest. And by the time I went to pay it, it had already accrued almost $500. So it took almost $7,500 to pay that loan off. And then for 9 months, all I did was my $200 automatic payments to avoid my loans getting into delinquency, and I focused on saving. I saved. This is not anything special. This is not anything arbitrary. This is not anything that you cannot do. If you have a goal in mind and you create a plan for that goal, it is possible. And so in May 31st of 2024, I was able to make another lump payment to the loan that had the highest interest. It was a subsidized loan of $5,500. And by the time I went to pay it off, it had accrued $195. So I needed a total of $5,695 to pay that loan off. And then 5 months later, in October of 2024, I had enough saved to pay off a third loan. This one was another unsubsidized loan of $7,000 with an interest rate of 4.53%. And by the time I went to pay the loan off, it had already accrued almost $350, and I needed a total of $7,348 to pay off that loan. And then shortly after that payment, our loans were actually placed back into forbearance. During that time, I saved. I didn't have to make any automatic payments. And then in May 2025, we received notice that our loans will be taken out of forbearance and placed back in repayment as of August 1st, 2025. And today, it is July 31st, 2025, and I am making the largest student loan payment that I have ever done, and hopefully the last. As of today, I still owe $26,717, and that is the payment. You know, it's crazy. I'm trying to be informative. I'm trying to be educational. I'm trying to be stoic, but it's so crazy that I'm paying almost $27,000 towards these student loans. Like, this is ridiculous. A lot of people have done it. People have been doing it for a millennia, but this is my first time ever experiencing something like this. So it's scary. I'm happy. I feel accomplished. I feel blessed. I feel privileged, but it's still like a lot of freaking money. And so I'm late to the game because I started 3 years late, but I'm ready to be officially debt free. Okay, let me move the camera. This is crazy. So it looks like it auto allocates my payment amount of $26,717.04. Auto allocating to the highest interest rate. It doesn't really matter to me because it's all going to go away. Click next. These are the 5 loans that I owe. Click submit. Holy moly, payment success. Wow. As of 7/31/2025, crazy, surreal, mind-boggling experience. This is super emotional for me. I've had money milestones throughout my whole life since I was a kid and decided that I wanted to go to college. I told myself I want to go to a good school. I also told myself, I think on the first day, there were some speakers there that were alumni and talking about what they do now. And I said, I want to do business. And I said, I want to work for a certain financial institution. So far, I have been able to meet those dreams. My next milestone was that I wanted to make X amount of money before a certain age. I was able to meet that dream. And now my next milestone was I wanted to be debt free before 30. I just turned 27 this month. So this is the best birthday gift that I can give myself. Super ecstatic, super grateful, super happy, super proud of myself. If you are in the same situation where you recently became debt free, I applaud you. I am happy for you. And if you haven't received any pat on the back, wait, lower. I'm patting it for you. I'm patting it for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy content about personal development, about weight loss, fitness, traveling, travel hacking, finance, if any of those things interest you, that is exactly the kind of content I post. I would love to have you, and I would appreciate if you subscribe and follow along and welcome you to the community. Thank you guys as always. Peace.